Prime Minister Trudeau is in Surrey, BC, which means protesters have gathered to give him the typical cold Canadian welcome.
Your country, sell out Canada. You guys are disgusting. Gotta love it. Oh, let him in, bro. Let him in.
He's gonna go arrest Trudeau. He's gonna arrest him.
You fucked into me, bro. I'm just moving around. Be careful, bro.
Drea, Humphrey here with Rebel News, and what started off with about 50 people gathered outside of the area convention centre in Surrey, BC is quickly evolving into something larger as people are gathering to greet the Honourable Prime Minister Trudeau. Now, this is the day after Prime Minister Trudeau put his surfboard aside and went to the Kamloops Residential School for the 1-year anniversary for the announcement of the unmarked grave sites there. And while the legacy media would have probably showed you that he was welcomed by some, here's a couple of clips you may not have seen.
Take your disrespect! Okay. Take your disrespect out of our throne. Hey, oh, hey, oh,
I had the opportunity earlier to speak to a number of elders, and I know for them it's something that they want to hear me sharing my reflections. So I'd ask you, I hear your anger towards me, that's fine, but I'd ask you to respect your elders, please.
It's already gone through.
Thank you. I'm sorry for your anger.
How tone deaf is that? Oh my gosh. How tone deaf is that? Respect your elders so I can talk. Speaking of tone deaf, is charging $1,000 to hear from Prime Minister Trudeau if you can afford the expensive gas in BC, let alone a ticket like that. Now that is a $675 drop from the last time Prime Minister wined and dined people at the Fairmont Vancouver Hotel. It's no surprise, I guess, that perhaps his popularity stock is dropping. According to this Angus Reid poll, you can see that his disapproval rate is on the rise. But while we wait for him to enter, if he didn't already sneak through a back door like he's had to do in the UK before, we're going to talk to some of these protesters and ask, why is it important for them to be here? And if you appreciate the reports that we do to bring you the other side of the story with our boots on the ground, you can chip in to help cover the costs for us to do so at rebelfieldreports.com. We appreciate your support, and we're nothing without you guys, quite frankly. Now, why was it important for you ladies to be here tonight?
Well, I shifted my whole life, my family, from Hong Kong to escape communism to come here, and I'm not doing it again. And, you know, I'm not a protester. I've been a businesswoman, a mother, grandmother, and this has just gotten too out of hand. And I've been warning Canadians for many, many years. And now I'm glad to see that some Canadians are taking it to heart and doing something about it and standing up.
All right, so your sign here says, why am I being held hostage in my own country? Pretty self-explanatory, but elaborate for us. Oh, other side. Why can't I leave my own country? Two valid questions that only the Prime Minister can answer. But what does that mean for you? What state has that put you in?
Well, I know a lot of people that cannot see their families, and people have told me that their families, you know, they're dying, they're on the verge of dying, and they can't leave the country. So, I mean, why are we being held hostage? I'm not a criminal. I don't have a criminal record. Why can't I leave the country? Canada's the only country where we cannot leave. So it doesn't make sense.
I want to be able to say to his face what I think of him. I've been awake for a long time. I'm just tired of the lies and the on mainstream news. I'm fed up with it. I can't believe people haven't woken up to this yet. And it's time. It's time for people to wake up.
We wanted to show our support and our disagreement with digital ID, you know, and what we believe is that the vaccination is an excuse, and the kindness of Canadians has been exploited because everybody wants to do the right thing and protect everybody, but that's been taken to a whole new extreme. And the reasoning is for digital IDs. They're having a meeting about it now in Davos.
Let's also be clear. The future is not just happening. The future is built by us, by a powerful community as you here in this room.
We know who is given powers beyond what they should, and so we're out showing our support for our fellow Canadians.
Speaking of Davos, if you don't know, we have sent journalists to Davos. If you want to catch out our reports there, you can head to wefreports.com. Also, you can chip in the cost to help us bring you the other side of the story with our boots on the ground there.
This is all stuff I've seen before. You know, we had family in China. We know what communism is all about, and we just have to get out. This is our last chance.
So has Mom started to make more sense recently, or did you always kind of go, yeah, Mom, I get what you're saying?
Definitely more recently, because, you know, as a kid, nobody wants to listen to their mom. But definitely from the last 2 years, I've realized that she's right.
Now, did you guys take notice to the type of vehicles that drove in there, whether it be Teslas or Porsches? I believe the cost to get in is $1,000. What's your thoughts on all that?
I did notice the cars for sure.
All right, thank you guys. Oh.
I'd pay $1,000 for a dinner, no problem, but not with him.
Disgusting. It's just revolting. I mean, like, it has nothing to do with the people. They're just like these rich elite that are just trying to, you know, take away our rights and freedoms, and they have taken it away. I can't even leave my own country. Like, I mean, I'm from South Africa, and I feel like I came here to get away from, you know, overreaching government, and here I am. Like, I can't even leave, and it's ridiculous. I mean, I'm healthy, so why can't I leave?
It's mostly rich people supporting Trudeau, and so it's fundraising. It's not really food that expensive. They want to support the campaign for a Liberal Party, and what can I say? All this COVID thing is who is winning? Corporations. and simple people, like 99% of population is losing. People became, it's even more differentiation and wealth. Like rich people get richer and poor people get poor. So, and now we can see who supports it and who is it for. So,
have you been coming out to the protests since the whole last 2 years or more recently?
Yeah, since the beginning actually, and I was in Ottawa. And I'm here now. My horn doesn't work. It just gave out on me today. So it's kind of funny. The day that Trudeau's here, it gives out on me. So my alarm is still working, but not my horn. We are having protests at the airport in Vancouver. We're actually doing them at the terminal where people walk in, like the entrances. And people in Manitoba joined us, New Brunswick and Montreal. So we're having our second one on May 28th at the airport in Vancouver, and New Brunswick is joining us on the same day.
Well, thank you so much. Hopefully you'll be able to get to fly soon.
Yes, definitely. We all deserve, it's a basic human right.
What do you guys think the solution is to get out of all of this?
For everybody to stand up for what they believe in, and to support each other. It's all right to, at the beginning of this 2 years ago, we didn't know what was going on, so we trusted and we erred on the side of caution. But it's been 2 years. We've learned a lot. And I think what we've got to do is start listening to what's working in other parts of the world. Other countries, this is a global virus. They've tried different things that are working a lot better than what is working here. And so let's look at what's working and let's use that,
Drea Humphrey here again, just popping in to give a new update to the end of this report. Sometimes when we have our boots on the ground, the story continues into the next day. And that's exactly what happened here in this report. So after we gave you those up-close, in-person looks and interviews with people who were on the ground outside of the Aria Convention Center waiting to greet Prime Minister Trudeau, it appears, according to the legacy media, government-approved media, Trudeau-approved media, that Trudeau did not actually enter the building, that people had spent $1,000 to see him inside of that night due to racial slurs allegedly being hurled at some of the guests by the protesters. Now, myself and my BC producer who was behind the camera are both visible minorities. We walked throughout the approximately 100 protesters. We certainly didn't hear any racial slurs being hurled. I checked our clips of our footage. We had audio rolling continuously. We didn't catch any of that. And we weren't the only journalists on the ground there. Actually, another journalist came in from the other side of the fence. A journalist that was allowed to attend the event came in outside of the gate with a cell phone and was some sort of media person and had his cell phone in many of the protesters' faces. I'm not sure why the legacy media doesn't have a clip to corroborate the claims of racial slurs. But with that said, there were certainly angry people, very angry, that Trudeau was coming there and that people were spending $1,000 when they feel their rights are being infringed upon by Trudeau's rules. Now, I did my due diligence here. I want to show you up close and personal. That's what we did. Could find no evidence of racial slurs, as I repeat, as I haven't any of the many times I've covered freedom-centered protests. But just in case, I reached out to the Aria Convention Center. I wanted to hear from themselves who received these insults and what exactly were they told was the reason that Trudeau didn't enter the building. I did not hear back. I also went to my Facebook page. I know that many of the people who attend freedom protests in the Lower Mainland also follow me on Facebook. I know that many of the 100 people that were there had their cell phones out, so I asked if any of them had any evidence. Let's be transparent. Please provide that to me or let me know what happened. Instead, I got the opposite. I got many people saying they saw no such thing. You can see in CBC the reported actual slurs that were said allegedly to some of the attendees, and apparently that was reported by MP Randeep Sarai. I've reached out to this MP as well. I wanted to know, was he on site at the event? Did he personally see these racial slurs being hurled? We're going to give him some time to respond. So if he does, you can check back at the written report at this article to see if he has in fact responded to that. But I wanted to make sure you were aware of all angles. I guess the last question I have, as a journalist, we ask questions, is even if there were racial slurs, which absolutely should be nowhere, I mean, it's not okay. It has nothing to do with freedom. Freedom is not racist. But, you know, why did that stop Trudeau? Were the racial slurs against white people? Why didn't he still go into the event and say, oh my gosh, I'm sorry that happened to you guys, but I'm here. You paid $1,000 for me to be here. I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you saw anything I didn't, you can let me know there as well. Drea Humphrey for Rebel News. And if you appreciate that we bring you the other side of the story, cover all angles, but make sure, unlike the legacy media, you are aware of the other side of the story, then you can help support our independent journalism, which I'm sure makes Prime Minister Trudeau oh so happy, by donating what you can at rebelfieldreports.com. Drea Humphrey for Rebel News.